Okay guys, this is my first update in a wee while now. Just doing another short movie to update you on the renovation project, which, well, it's going quite slow, but I've been busy with other things as well. As you can see here is the Myford ML7. She's partially stripped. I've been stripping all the change gears off it. As you can see, they're pretty much all gone apart from the, I believe this is the tumbler gear here, or tumbler gears. I've got the back plate which mounts on these 3 bolts. That's been removed because I noticed it's actually a little bit twisted. I've got it sitting in here. I've been attempting to straighten it with limited success. She's not bad now, but yeah, the end there where the large diameter hole is in, she's still a little bit twisted. So I don't know if you can see that there. It's awkward because material's quite springy, and I'd also suspect it's a little bit brittle, so if I bend it too far she's just going to go with a snap. So it might require a little bit of heat possibly. I'm going to investigate that nearer the time when I have to start reassembling components. In the meantime rather, I've been sourcing other parts that I've been requiring. Indeed, I've got a new top slide here. And as you can see here, I'm still looking for the end plate for the cross slide. Haven't been able to source one of them individually. I do know that one chap on eBay is selling a whole cross slide with that part included for 125 quid, which is it's just too much for me, you know. I can't afford that. So I have, however, had some success in obtaining feed screws and feed nuts. I've got a feed screw there now, the proper one. I don't know if you remember on one of the last episodes, there was originally just about a threaded bar in there, and that's been replaced now with the correct component. But I think the feed nut may be suffering from a little bit of wear. There seems to be just a little bit of play. It just depends where it is, you know. It might be the shaft even. And you can see there she's slack on the X and Y, but she's not too bad in and out. Once it's all assembled, it might be a lot better than it currently looks. So I'm not concentrating on that at the moment. Here we have a newly undercoated tailstock. Ain't that pretty, yeah? She's coming together slowly. I've been undercoating all the loose parts, if you like. So the tailstock's now been all undercoated with some red oxide. I've also put in a new ball oiler here. I don't know how clear that is in the picture, but I'm not entirely happy with them. I got these ones from a company online, and okay, I'll try and get the camera to focus on just the stud on my fingers. There's a sort of concave, surface on the end of the oiler with the ball inside, obviously, and you know, you've got the aperture there for the ball and the spring inside it. But the concave surface isn't actually central to the rest of the body of the oiler. It's a small point, but it just makes it look shoddy, basically. However, the weight of it, while, you know, obviously it's a small item and it's quite light, the weight of it is actually a lot more substantial than these ones, which I've also sourced online. Now they are actually closer to the original oiler in the fact that they've got a little wee sort of lip along the top, and it's got a larger bearing or ball in the centre. It looks a lot closer to the original, and I think I'm going to go with these. So that one, which is the one with the convex, or sorry, convex or concave? Christ, I can't remember. Anyway, the one that's got the dish in it, that one will be coming out, and this one going back in. Or not back in, but we'll be replacing it, because it's more like the original. And I think it might be easier to get the oil in because of the larger aperture on the surface. However, even this I'm not entirely satisfied with, as you won't see it on the camera, but where the ball seats on the surface there, the lip of the hole in the surface of the ball oiler is actually being pushed through from the other side. So if you imagine whatever machine they're using to punch or drill through, well, it's actually pressed, so however these shells are formed in the process, maybe it's when they mount the ball, it's actually bending the inner diameter of the surface outwards. So when you press the ball in, there's a little lip there, just a little lip, which is again, you know, bad quality. You know, it's not. It's usable. You know, I'm being fussy, I suppose. But yeah, you know, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm trying to get everything back to as standard as possible. However, the originals, I don't know if you'll see it in the light here. There's one there. It seems to have a brass finish, or certainly possibly made of brass, while this one is some sort of plated rubbish, you know, going by the weight of it. It's very, very light. There's virtually no weight in that at all. So that's another point. I've got here a recently undercoated top slide, which I was initially intending on renovating, but as I have now sourced a replacement, I'm in two minds what I'll do. I might use this one, or I might sell it, see if I can make a small profit on it to buy other parts for the ML7 that I require. This one, the surface here, as you can see, has suffered some damage. You know, these are not bashes as such; they're more indentations from where the elephant foot has been tightened up too much on the tool post. There was some damage on the front face here, but I've scraped that and filed that flat, so that's quite smooth now, so it won't interfere with any tooling, certainly not with the level of the tooling. Here we have the headstock cover. As you can see, it's also got a couple of coats of red oxide on the outside. The finish isn't anything spectacular, but I'm not, as long as there's no any major big thick runs in it, you know, I'm not too concerned by the overall finish. You can see there's a bit of a indentation there, and there's other little marks over it, but I think that will be, you know, quite satisfactory for my, you know, here down at the tail end as well. Oh, I've also sourced a headstock cover securing bolt. I think it's not an original, but it's one somebody's made up, but it's got the sort of spring bit of plate at the back with the knurled knob in the front, and it'll certainly suffice. And of course another gear change cover, the gearbox cover. I don't know what the correct term is, but that's all in good working order. Everything's complete on her. Did I see a run there? Maybe just a bit where I brushed a run flat, possibly. So that's all in good condition. I haven't bothered painting the insides of these parts because the internal surface coat of the original paint is still in good condition. albeit it was dirty. That's one thing I haven't just noticed there, well, I haven't just noticed it, but I will bring it to your attention. There's a slight bit of damage to the bottom of this, or to the edge of this internal diameter on the hole. There's a lip there. I don't know if that was been there since the casting process, or possibly it's some sort of wear, maybe by using I forget the name, but there's an attachment that you can fit into this hole to turn the head and indeed the lead screw when the gear train is engaged. So that might have caused the damage. I don't know, but I'll grind that flat with a little Dremel or some such device, or just a standard file of some description. All these undercoated parts are of course waiting to be coated in their final grey enamel. It's not entirely or exactly the Myford finish, but I'm not prepared to pay the money that they're wanting. You know, I can get enamel paint for half the price they're wanting, minus the postage cost locally. So I'm not going to pay ridiculous amounts for paint just because it's the same colour as Myford's. However, the green paint that you see here is slowly disappearing from the lathe. I've done a fair bit of scraping, well, not a fair bit, I've done a bit of scraping along the bottom here, and then this lead screw is now starting to become a problem or an issue. So this might actually be stripped out altogether, so I can get underneath and get all the green removed from there, because I just detest it. It's a horrible sickly colour, and it's been poorly done and poorly finished, and it flakes very easily. You know, you can see there. I'll do that again, just with my nail. It's flaking off, no bother. I don't know what they've used, but it's just totally unsuitable for its purpose. What other problems have I encountered since last time I spoke to you? Oh yeah, while I was stripping the gearbox cover, I did in fact find a 25 tooth gear change, or a gear that had missing teeth, or a missing tooth rather. So that was yet another piece of unforeseen damage to the assembly, or the lathe. But I've managed to source a new one, and in that process I discovered that the lathe was actually missing the 38 tooth gear change. So I've had to buy 2 new gears at the cost of another £18. So the restoration budget is still escalating, unfortunately. However, while it's, you know, I'm spreading it out over quite a significant period of time, so it's not too bad. Now here's a little tip for some of you. I don't know if you like the idea or not, but a CD or DVD storage container, basically. This is actually a little bit shorter than required. What you'd really need is one of the longer ones, you know, like the 100 what do they call them, barrels, or the packs, you know. There used to be 100 DVDs contained in that tub. This one only 50, and it's just, as you can see, a little bit short, so I've cut a hole in the top to accommodate the gear, and as you can see there's 2 loose 25 tooth gears in the bottom there. So that would be a sort of cheap method of storing your gearing safely and in a sort of sealed environment. It's also recycling some plastics to help save the environment, if you like. But yeah, I thought that was like quite a nifty idea. It's my girlfriend that suggested it.